Hello, welcome to part 3 of 4 of the online workshop, Couples Reconnecting Post-Deployment. This is a Halifax and Region Military Family Resource Center workshop, and I am Mara Toombs from the Mental Health and Wellbeing team. I'm a social worker on our team and one of the counselors. And these videos are designed to be watched by you and your partner, and ideally together, but it could be that that's not convenient and you want to watch them apart or by yourself, and that's also helpful potentially, and you do whatever works for you. But if you have time for the two of you to sit down and watch this together, it can be helpful because there'll be times when I recommend that you stop and discuss this with your partner or that, and so I would recommend that you try to do that if that works. I would also recommend that you have some paper and pencil or pen so you can take some notes and recognize that this is not counseling. This is just information, and if you feel like you need to go deeper and explore this information with some coaching and some support, you can reach out to us about counseling, or we can help you find some other resources that exist for you to get some support for you and your partner. So the Gottman Institute has been researching and working with couples for over 40 years, and in this presentation we are going to be sharing some pieces of their work. Their work is readily available online, in books, there's apps, they have a lot of different ways for you to access this information. They do an excellent job of translating all the learning that they have to help couples make relationships work. And one of their main tenets is that happy relationships are based on deep friendship, mutual respect for each other, enjoyment of each other's company. So, what does it mean to have a friendship? How can we deepen our friendship with our partner? These are some of the things that we're going to be exploring. Friendship in a happy couple, a relationship can be characterized by individuals who are well-versed in each other's likes and dislikes and personality quirks, hopes and dreams, and that also you're able to express fondness, not just in big ways, but through small gestures day in, day out. And friendship offers the best protection against feeling adversarial towards your spouse. And this is a way in which friendship fuels the flames of romance. So according to Gottman, the key is learning how to better attune to each other and make friendship a top priority. So some of Gottman's connection practices that we are going to share and talk about today are love maps, which I'll talk about in the next slide, partings and reunions, how do we respond to these opportunities for connection, fondness and admiration, sort of how do you intensify and lean into fondness and admiration for each other, turning toward each other, soften your startup. That's a concept that will be in the next video in part 4, and also repair attempts will be in part 4. And those are really important concepts around how we respond to things that are difficult that might arise. So in the next section, I'm going to be talking about love maps. And I know that can sound a little hokey, but I'm going to ask you to stick with me because I think it's all actually very relatable. So let's see. So your love map is a way that Gottman describes how much and what you actually know about your partner at this time. So we all like to feel appreciated and understood. How would you do right now if you were being tested on your partner's favorite music, movies, dreams of their future, favorite interests, and people that they like? This is the kind of thing that most of us would find a little nerve-wracking if we found out there was a pop quiz. And don't worry, we're not going to have one here, but we encourage you to continue learning about your partner's likes and dislikes. And a suggested practice is to think about what's most important to that person. Each week, maybe find a thing that you want to learn about them. So for example, this might be, who is their current best friend? What TV show are they enjoying the most? What's their favorite song right now? What's the biggest problem that they're currently facing? What are their dreams? What relative do they really like or dislike? What is the best or worst thing that's happened to them in their childhood? What's a favorite holiday destination for them? So these are varying all over the map in terms of depth and intensity, but they're all important facets of a person. If you do this over time, your partner will realize there's one person on the planet who truly understands them, and that person is you. And this process of kind of building out our love map and learning about likes and dislikes is really something we do so much at the beginning of relationships, many of us. And really maintaining and understanding it is something that can continue through our whole relationship. So what would you like to take some time to update in your love map? Updating your love map is a way to keep your relationship with your partner deep and friendly. And the Gottman Institute has an app. It's the Gottman Institute card deck app. So you could look that up. There's a section on love maps that provides questions you can use to help update your like depth of knowledge and exciting information about each other. So this is a moment when you could stop to talk about that, or we can just plow ahead. But if you take a moment to stop, then welcome back. So partings and reunions, that's the next subject from the Gottman playbook that I want to talk about. And there's a quote up here that says, love is a constant process of tuning in, connecting, missing and misreading cues, disconnecting, repairing, and finding deeper connection. It is a dance of meeting and parting and finding each other again, minute to minute and day to day. And I think that's from Dr. Sue Johnson. I think that's a beautiful description of what our love is in sort of its living, breathing form. And so, we're talking to you here about post-deployment and how it is in our relationships. So you've already had one big parting, but connecting, as a connected couple, you can see partings happening all the time. You're parting when you leave in the morning to go to work, or when someone goes to the grocery store, and we're coming back together when we return, just as we come back from deployments. So how we respond to those opportunities can be really important. And Gottman has some really sort of key ideas here that I'm going to talk about. One is the idea of having a time before you leave, if you're parting, let's say for the day, or if you're going off on a deployment, where you're asking questions about what's exciting and not exciting for your partner about what's coming, what's happening to them in the next few days, what's their day going to look like today? Is there anything they're worried about their day? Is there anything they're excited about their day? So that level of conversation, really tuning in, deeply listening to each other, and having a check-in before you leave for the day actually sets you up in a way to be able to close the loop when you come back together. If you know one noteworthy thing about your partner's day before the day starts, then when you come back together at the end of the day, you have a chance to catch up and ask questions about how it went. And you're really showing them that you were listening, that you care, that you're curious about them. And in a way, you've sort of passed the baton of attachment back and forth and set up a link for reconnection at the end of the day. So I think when we think about that, how we part sets us up really well for how we're going to come back together. Another thing about reconnecting in terms of rituals of reconnection, Dr. John Gottman talks about making a real pattern of having a hug and a kiss that lasts at least 6 seconds when we come back together with the one that we love. Dr. Gottman calls this the kiss with potential. And this 6-second kiss is a ritual of connection that is definitely worth coming home to. It's a ritual of reconnection. You may have given each other a kiss and the hug at the end of each day before deployment, but Gottman suggests at the end of each day when you come back home right now to each other, this is the time. If that 6-second kiss is there, it's giving you some time to connect in a stress-reducing way and really remind each other that you're there. It provides some space for intimacy, as well as encouraging you both to understand the stresses and the problems outside of your relationship if you're taking that time to check in. So maybe you have that long hug or a kiss, and then you take a few minutes to talk about how things have been. That is really creating an opportunity to cement that bond as you reconnect. Ask yourself, how did you end calls or emails while your loved one was deployed? And has anything changed since reunion? So here are some tips for daily, or however often you can, stress-reducing conversations. So if you're making time to connect the beginning and the end of the day, for example, here are some tips about how to make that communication really maximally positive for you. So one is stay mindful and present while showing genuine interest in what your partner has to say. Number 2 is seek understanding and give empathy before giving advice. That sounds overwhelming, you might say, or wow, I'd be at my wit's end too. I can totally understand how you feel. The third clue is to offer support. So saying things like, I really wish your boss would lay off on you. And another one is showing affection, even virtual affection. Like if it's a texting conversation, it's always a good time to say, I'm sending you a hug, or, wish I was there to give you a squeeze. And then when it comes to problem solving, really asking, do you want some advice right now? Let's work through this together. And if they say, no, not right now, then that's not the conversation that they were hoping. That wasn't what they were looking for in terms of support. And you can let them know you're still there with them and that you can give advice later if that's helpful. So let's do a quick check-in. This is a time when you could pause the video if you're watching together and have a quick check-in about how you and your partner manage partings and reunions. And if you're alone, this also is a good time to write down some notes about what do partings and reunions look like for you and your partner? And is there one that you would like to strengthen? Do you need a bit more attention around how you relate to each other before you part, or reunion, or maybe both? So now's a good time to take a little break and think or talk about that, and then we'll check back in. So welcome back. So now that you've taken a moment to consider this, we have some connecting strategies for you in the next section, which is on fondness and admiration. So fondness and admiration are two elements of a long-lasting relationship that foster the belief that your partner is worthy of honor and respect. Take time to remind yourself of your partner's positive qualities and express them through fondness and admiration. So, there's some examples here on the screen of how that might sound. Some really good prompts for how to express fondness and admiration. I'm proud of the way that you work hard. I'm attracted to your spirit, or how patient you are, or how great you look in that shirt. I'm impressed that you can keep a cool head when so much is going on. I'm impressed that you finished that course this week, even when things were so intense. I like how you take on new challenges. I like how you greet me when I come home. So also you see here on the right, there's a list of qualities. You can look at these and see if there's any that you would want to pull out when you're expressing fondness. What are some qualities of your partner that you really appreciate that you would want to reflect back to them? And then we're going to switch to the next slide and give fondness and admiration a try. So take a moment to look at those qualities and see if any of them pop out at you. So taking a minute right now to fill in the blanks and finding some time, think about how in the next little while you could say these sentences out loud to your partner. So what are some that you want to say, and what are some things you want to reflect on? Like, I like how you, what is it about their partner that you want to express to them that you appreciate? You may believe that your partner already knows these things. We hear that a lot, and a lot of us fall into these habits of thinking our partner knows. But I guarantee you they enjoy hearing it when you say it out loud. And appreciation is the expression of gratitude. So showing appreciation is primarily about saying, thank you. I appreciate this. In this exercise, you could choose, there's an exercise here, you could choose 3 adjectives that describe your partner, and you could think about an actual incident where they gave an example of that. So I'm so proud of the way you keep a cool head under pressure, and then an example. So that can be a really good way to make it clear to your partner, what are the things about them that you really are drawing strength from or appreciating in this moment. So try to think of 3 qualities of your partner and then some examples, and find an opportunity to talk to them about it, or do a little exchange between the 2 of you. Sometime you could commit to saying them to your partner sometime in the next month, or you could sit down and be like, let's sit down and each share something. It can be a great way to really deepen that feeling of connection, and doing small things like this can make a big difference. These are little ways to be better together, even when you're apart and when you're back together again. So one of the connectors the Gottmans identify as being important is what they call bids for connection. So a bid is any attempt from one partner to the other for attention, affirmation, affection, or any other positive connection. Bids show up in simple or more complex ways. So a bid might look like, pay attention to what I say. Please respond to simple requests. Help or work with me. Show interest or active excitement in my accomplishments. Chat with me. Share the events of your day with me. Respond to my joke. Help me de-stress. Help me problem solve. Be affectionate. Play with me. Join me in this adventure. Join me in learning something. Every time you turn towards your partner, you invest in the health and security of your relationship. This is a cushion for when things get tough. This is attachment. This is a sense of security, of feeling truly able to know and be known by your partner. created by intentionally and consistently turning toward your partner, deepening your shared sense of intimacy. And it is correlated with an increased relationship satisfaction. So the challenge is recognizing and engaging with the bids. This can be challenging in the business of everyday life and during stressful times. Deployment can make you aware of how crucial these little moments of connection are and how everyday interactions should not be taken for granted. But in practice, just to really bring it down to the grass roots of this, or like the base of it, what we see is, so often in relationships, someone is saying to us, come, let's go for a walk together. Or do you want to play a game? Or do you want to make dinner together? And in the sort of busy hubbub of our lives, often we don't take advantage of those opportunities, but those are bids for connection. Someone is inviting us into the dance and we have a chance to step in, or we have a chance to step out. And so paying a little attention to how that's playing out is really important. So what are some mini moments or activities that you are enjoying together? During this reunion and reintegration phase specifically, we're near the end of this section of the presentation, so I recommend that you note this as a thing to check in about. What are some things that you two have in terms of your moments in your routine or activities that help you connect, or something that you would like to return to that has connected you in the past? So this could be an opportunity to recommit to some kind of mini moments or activities that have been helpful, or to try to discover some new ones, or to notice what you're already doing that is working really well. So this concludes part 3 of 4, and thank you for joining me for this presentation. This was part 3 of 4, and part 4 will be hosted by Elizabeth Thomas, and she'll be discussing strategies to soften conflict and repair as needed. She'll also be presenting some supports and resources that you can take advantage of if they're helpful. So take care and enjoy.